Hey everyone, welcome to Pass or Play. So today I'll be reviewing Anne Rice's interview with the Vampire, Season 1, Episode 6, Like Angels Put in Hell by God, streaming on AMC Plus right now and coming on the channel AMC later tonight. So if you have not seen the episode yet, maybe wait until after you see it and then come back, for the review, unless you just, don't care. So my first question is, has Claudia been playing chess the entire time and just letting Lestat think she's playing checkers, or did she just get that good over time, or was she already that good? And so we open up, in the past with Louis with some shattered vertebrae, punctured lung, blind in one eye for 5 weeks, and still recovering. Claudia is bringing him rats for feeding, while he's laying healing in the coffin, walking with a cane. He got a limp and can't catch a sheep to save his life. He's looking very sad and pathetic right now. And um, even though I guess it's he stays to his virtue on not killing humans. He's like he's gonna keep feeding from animals. I'm assuming if he had fed from humans, he probably would have healed much faster. But none of the characters are perfect. They're all flawed one way or the other. No one is perfect. Lestat in this episode, he's ashamed of how he behaves, so he keeps his distance, living with Antoinette, which is stupid because that's not going to help you get any true leeway with Louis. But he does keep his distance, and you know, at one point he does apologize, saying he doesn't know what possessed him, but Lestat is very violent. He's very comfortable in his nature as a predator. Whether or not he views himself, well, he does view himself as a predator, but he's very comfortable and kind of self assured in who he is in a lot of aspects, as far as him as an individual. So it is very much, what possessed you. You were jealous and you felt like you were losing Louis, and you were using violence to make him stay. Like if I can't convince you with my words, then I'm going to convince you and show you, how bad I can be, how, I don't want to say evil per se, but how maniacal he can be. If I can't do it, there's that saying, you get what, bees with honey versus vinegar or something like that. So at first he was trying to be sweet, and then he's like, now I'm just gonna go sour, and it doesn't really work for him. He's calling Louis, and Louis and Claudia, they're not answering. Lestat shows up with a rare book and asks to speak with Louis. Claudia's like, we don't want you here. And Louis throws his coffin out the window into the street. And it's like, what will the neighbors think? The neighbors are noticing coffins, out in the street. None of them are aging, and people start vandalizing their property and warning that they are no longer welcomed. But Lestat continues sending gifts, and it takes 6 years for Louis to react to a song called "Come to Me," which was really good. I ain't gonna lie, I was like, come to me," and then at the end they have Lestat singing like full out, which is great because the record that he sent Louis, only a couple seconds in, Antoinette is singing on it, and I'm like, and and I think that's the duality with Lestat's character. It's like, you know, he's never one or the other. He's like always in between. It's like he's never too good, never too whatever. He's always kind of like in the middle. And it's like, oh, you create the song, you play all the instruments on the record because no one else can do it justice but you have one print, and you do all that, and then instead of just singing the whole song yourself, you had Antoinette because she has a clear voice. It's like you couldn't find another singer in all of New Orleans or the world with all the apparent mountains of money that Lestat has. It's like you couldn't find somebody else to sing that has vocals like Antoinette. But either way, you know, but it was really good up until those few seconds, and you hear Antoinette's voice. And the fact that he calls her his lover. I mean, she's a mistress. It's just semantics again. Lestat did say at the very beginning he wanted a companion. He never necessarily said husband or wife or partner. He just said companion. Companion could just be a lifelong friend. It doesn't have to be sexual, even though that's what they have. So, I mean, Lestat has kind of made it within the parameters of, yeah, you said companion, but this is a relationship. Nobody wants to be cheated on, or to feel like, if we don't agree or we can't talk, you're just going to run off to the other person. And that's what really goes on this the previous episode and starting this episode. But it's ironic though, he wouldn't let Louis have Lily. I think that was the prostitute. I mean the woman of the night's name. um you know and yeah, so you know he basically wants he wants Louis to compromise for him. But he still stays concrete on I'm going to be me. And Lestat is selfish, more than anything, arrogant, cocky, and he can be loving and sweet when he wants to. He but in this episode, Louis ends up swimming across the Mississippi once he hears the song, um, all wet, breaking into Antoinette's house, telling her to leave. Lestat's like, yeah, you need to go home. And Louis takes Lestat. Louis takes Lestat back, because of the bond that he has to Lestat as his maker, which Claudia doesn't seem to feel that kind of a bond, though. That's all I'm saying. She's like, I don't feel that way. Now Louis does read a book on marriage. He bonds more with Claudia, and their telepathy talks throughout the episode are great. The conversations within a conversation. They're even talking telepathy when Lestat and Louis are getting busy, which I was like, really? I guess she can't. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that one was kind of like odd. It is still like a, a family dynamic, and I don't, even if I could read minds and things like that, I wouldn't be talking to somebody mentally while they're like getting busy with somebody else. But I guess that's just me. But it takes years for Louis to deal with how he feels about the incident and gives, Lestat a second chance with some rules and questions. Honesty and truth only, no lies. He asks Lestat, did he kill Paul? Lestat says no, he would never do that. I honestly thought Lestat maybe had something to do with Paul's death too. But he says that he doesn't. So, okay. Lestat talks about how his maker Marcus had basically captured him and kept him, abducted him and kept him hostage for a week before before turning, Lestat into a vampire and then killing himself, but leaving him with money, which I feel there's like a half truth and half lie there. Again, I have not read the books, so I don't know. I don't know. I barely remember the movie from 1994. Maybe I should rewatch the movie, but I don't. I feel like that's a half true. Have like some of that may be true, and then like some of that's a lie. Lestat is rebellious and condescending at times, so giving him rules is not going to work. Antoinette is Lestat's escape, more or less. From Because he knows that Louis and Claudia are talking, to each other, even in the midst of when he's playing chess or interacting with them. There's the conversation within the conversation going on, which is cool and I think very effectively. Like it doesn't overlap with each other. They give space for you to hear everything between Lestat and Claudia, Lestat and Louis, vice versa, and all all triangle conversation trifecta thing going on there. Lestat is asked to kill Antoinette, which he pretends to do by faking her death. It gets in the newspaper. He cuts off a finger, gives it to gives it to Claudia as a souvenir because she likes collecting. Because I know you used to love connecting souvenirs. Like, oh, the shady remarks throughout this whole episode is hilarious too. That's the funny. Like a lot of it is sad, but there's like to me there's like a really strong undercurrent of comedy that I like about it, where like it's still very serious, but and they do it in a very like a very like not in a comedic way, but in a very like I'm talking regular like this. Yes, I know you like souvenirs. Here's your right. Here's the hand, and I'm in the newspaper wrapped up in front of you. Just throw it in front of her, but there's very much an undercurrent of comedy. Even though the delivery isn't necessarily comedic, and I like that because I don't know. I just find it funny. It makes it more. It's like it's like the comedy within the drama that I kind of like to it. So it's serious, of course, especially with some of the subject matters, but it still kind of levels it out as far as like to me the overall content. So it gives it a comedic drama, context that I kind of like. But so yeah, again, he's asked to kill Antoinette, which he pretends to do by faking her death, and he's keeping her up in a hotel a town over, which both Louis and Claudia discover and find out. Louis kind of is like, he basically did this. He wanted us to know. It's not even like it's that far. What do you want me to do? This is who Lestat is. By telling him no, he couldn't do it. Of course, he's going to continue to do it. That's just. He's a brat. He's childish. Which is true in a lot of dynamics. Even though Lestat is older as a vampire, he's still very much. He's probably about 14 too, like Claudia, but Claudia has gotten older. Claudia is like 33 years old now, even though she's still, still, stuck in her teenage body. But Louis and Claudia, they're getting older, and it's like, and Lestat is getting more immature. But Louis plays the middleman and, peacemaker between Claudia and Lestat. He agrees to go back hunting humans instead of animals. And Claudia in this episode, she's just like, fuck you. Fuck you, Lestat. She's giving them the middle fingers. I'm not gonna give you guys the middle finger, but she's like, F you, Lestat. And she's like, you're a liar. He tells lies. Claudia scratching them new cars. Bah, at Lestat. She's like, I'm just your companion, your sister. Yes, you're my maker, but that's it. Even though it's all semantics, none of them are related, but she still considers Louis. She just calls him Louis. She doesn't call him Daddy Lou or Papa Lou, but she still very much considers him, her dad, I would say, or like a big brother. But Lestat, she's like, fuck you. You're just my maker. You in public, I can be your sister or your companion if that's what you want to call it. But that's it. I'm here for Louis, not for you. You know, and she's telling Louis, don't fall for that Marcus Maker sob story. Claudia's like, I'm enduring. I don't feel bound to my maker. She don't feel that connection that Louis do. But, you know, and she's like, my behavior may be ugly, but I'm not blind like you, Louis, like you seem to be. Just taking this for what it is. And, Claudia decides to go and tell Louis, come find me when Lestat messes up again. And, Louis is like, you don't need me. If you want to go, go. And Claudia decides to go. But Lestat finds her on a train and, like, no, girl, you can't go. Louis needs you here in his current state. Lestat's like, I found the thoughts of Bruce, your rapist. He thinks of you often. And could you imagine if something like that happened to you again, what that would do to Louis? Come home, make Louis happy, and if you try this again, you're dead. Right. I mean, it's yeah. And I'm honestly at this point in the show, I was like, fuck Lestat too. At that point, I'm like, that's really that's messed up. It's cruel even. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't really defend that. He didn't even really have to mention the whole Bruce thing. He could have just said, he could have said all that without the Bruce, bringing up the Bruce thing. But again, it's that condescending, throwing it back in your face. It's like, they're just kind of playing this game of, just shady remarks, which makes it funny. But I mean, in that part, I didn't think that was funny. I thought that was just kind of cruel and mean. It's a low blow. And Claudia and Lestat, they are more alike than they would probably admit. Claudia was like, "Oh, Lestat, you write songs for all your lovers, boo. You write songs for all your lovers." You know the thing about Marcus and his previous lover Nikki. Did Nikki kill himself too, like Marcus did? Claudia again. She's trying to poke the bear of Lestat, and it doesn't seem like it's going to end well. Now, I'm gonna say too that my favorite part was Dr. Bashali, the doctor who comes and gives Daniel his IV meds for his Alzheimer's, and he's probably the smartest one there, at least in the present, because he's like, "Y'all want to commit suicide? Not me." He's like, "Pleasure never meeting you. I do not discuss my patients. I don't know a Louis de Pontulac. I do drive a Pontiac. I don't know a Pontiac, but I drive a Pontiac." He didn't say that, but I don't know. I came up with that. I thought that was funny. You know, you like, if that's what you mean, that is not my voice. I am not here. I don't know you. Was I in Bali? I was in Chicago. What? What is a vampire? I was on Delta. I was on. I was not. I was flying Spirit. I got my receipts. Dr. Basali's like, "Y'all ain't gonna get me caught up in this mess. I'm just a doctor, but I'm not here though. I'm a doctor who's not here, and you ain't getting me caught up in this crap." Right, right. I signed an NDA. I don't know you. I don't know her, him, them, us, we. Right, But I mean, I think in the end, Louis is very self-loathing and sad throughout the episode. Louis has a sort of defeated love with Lestat. There are things he does not like, and he's kind of just become devoid of it. They use the word numb to. He's just become numb to it. It's like, he knows Lestat's nature, and he knows that he can't change him if Lestat doesn't want to kind of bend a little bit. They really do need a therapist. I know I had commented. I know I said Dr. Phil in the last episode. Y'all fix their life, and somebody commented on that, but it's true. I mean, they at least need a therapist. They can mind. I think they can. I think they can make people forget, so they can see a therapist and make them forget and go for multiple sessions or something. But the family trio is very much disjointed with bitter resentment and angst towards one another for different reasons. Claudia, for Louis, kind of deciding to take Lestat back. Lestat, at Claudia for talking to Louis, kind of kind of talking bad about him, and he can't hear, or at least he keeps acting like he can't. And then we do find out too that Lestat's gift of flight is, certain vampires get it as a unique ability, but not all vampires. I wonder, does Louis have any unique abilities that Lestat doesn't necessarily know about? I do remember him starting a fire in that can. I don't know, is that a special power that he has? Who knows? But either way, they got a house, but it is not a home. Shout out to Luther Vandross. But you know, and still, I do wonder, would Lestat really let Louis go and find someone else? Honestly, I don't. He gives the more like, if I can't have you, no one can. He probably would kill Claudia in front of him, in front of Louis, and then kill Louis. I mean, or keep him trapped somewhere or held up somewhere, where he would have him to himself or something. And Rashid seemed like he felt a certain kind of way when Louis said, he would turn down you into a vampire now. And then he's like, can I be excused? It just seemed like he felt a certain kind of way about that. However, towards the end of this interview, Daniel falls asleep, and Louis, who's still, talking to the night. Oh, I'm sorry. So wait, yeah, Daniel falls asleep with Louis, who's still talking, and kind of dreaming about the first night he met Louis in the 1970s in the bar for the first time, and he realizes Rashid was there and wakes up. Now, I really wish, I really do actually wish I had read the books. Because I'm like, what is going on with Louis' flat top afro going on here? And also, too, Rashid's doppelganger. Um, I know one of the comments somebody had said something, I think referencing some other vampire. I can't remember, was it Rashid or was it in reference to maybe Claudia or something, but that may kind of speak to who Rashid may be or something like that. But either way, the season finale is not next week. It's supposed to be on November 13th, uh, 2022, or so. They're not next week, but the week after. So let's see how they end this season, because every episode has been on point to me. I mean, this episode was good. All the episodes have been good. I don't think they've dropped the ball in any of the episodes as far as the writing or the acting or anything. Only 7 episodes, though. Why not 10 at least? Maybe it's budgeting. Maybe it was COVID. I don't know. Or maybe that's just how they wrote it. They just wrote it as like a seven season, like a season or 7 episodes a season. So either way, I don't really have much more to say. That I kind of gave my thoughts, trying to throw out as I was giving it. I had to watch this episode twice to even like to try to even do the review, because I'm like, I don't know what to say, how to say all this stuff. So hopefully you guys liked it. Um, Hopefully I didn't ramble too much, but if you like this review, hit the like button. If you have any comments, comment below. Anything I said or missed or didn't speak on that you thought was cool. And please subscribe. Trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And I will see you next on the season review. And check out some of my other videos.